That makes sense because I think Gary Vaynerchuk, is that his name? Gary
Gary V. Yeah.
He says you're supposed to jab, hook.
Yeah.
And all we're doing is hooking here.
Yeah, so I
Wait
want
a
to
minute.
say
That didn't sound right.
oh, hey, if it pays the bills. So with getting into a little bit of like our what?
That's funny.
Whenever you're about to spit on me, I feel like
I hope we can keep that in.
What's up, man? What is up? Glad you guys can make it. Nice. Appreciate it. Thanks guys for coming today. All right.
I got a thing stuck in my foot.
Where'd you take it?
Guys, there's an article here. It says the average attention span in America is 8.25 seconds. Man, I don't believe that at all.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Nowadays.
God damn. TCU lost by that much?
Hey guys, can we focus?
Yo, I'm over here, man. Welcome to the Time and Money Network, where smart business is done. And today, we're going to talk about what I think is the most important marketing strategy going forward for the next 10 years. I'm here with Joe and Chris of VidLaunch. What's up, guys?
What's up?
And you guys are specialized in short form video. You do all video, but you know the secret sauce. It's all short form because attention span has gone to absolutely zero, right?
Yeah. It's really, we both separately have been doing it for years. Like Chris was doing his own short form content. I've been doing mine. I started with long form, and I mean, just seems like it's so much easier to get more eyes on your content with short form than it is long form. So came together, created VidLaunch, and we're excited.
It's smart because I haven't met another company that specializes in short form.
Yeah, it's going back and adding a little bit to a joke. We both did traditional, I guess you would say, video production. You do a little bit of everything, maybe some events, you do some ads, commercial work, whatever. But as we've done our own personal stuff, you kind of start playing around with apps like TikTok, Instagram, like that. Both of us have gotten some traction, and you start applying some of the, pro stuff to that. But the leads, the traction you're able to get right now. So it was like, I mean, this is not a new thing in business to niche down to something specific. And it was like, we basically took what we knew and, our own careers separately and our own businesses and came together to basically build a business around that. Like, how can we help business owners? This sounds like a sales pitch, but it's like, how do we help them? No, but how do we help them with short form? Because it's not just as simple as like turning on the camera all the time. There is an art to it.
Yeah. That's a good point. Like, I'm in sales. I study sales. The whole sales and marketing is my thing. And some people say they don't like to sell, but if you ever ask somebody out on a date, that was a sale. When I asked my lovely wife to marry me, that was the biggest sale ever. If you can convince her to watch my shows versus her shows on Netflix, that was a sale. So nobody should be ever, withholding selling ability, because if I were to convince somebody from a 4th-story building to jump that was on fire, even if I manipulated that person for their benefit, it saved their life, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, I go off on tangents all the time.
But that's awesome.
Sell your product. Because
congratulations on your sale, and congratulations on your closing with your wife.
Yes.
So.
Yeah. You're always closing now.
Always closing. Well, I hope not always closing. Hopefully close one time on that deal.
Well, the door opens and you got to close it again. She tries to get out of the,
It's true. She's like, you're not making enough money.
No, and you know what?
Go make that money.
Time and money.
I ask her sometimes, hey, be honest with me. If I was a janitor, would we be sitting here right now with 2 kids? Come on. Be honest.
Yeah. I think one
Nothing
thing
against janitors. Sanitation engineers are very important.
in the same way that you're saying, like, it's all about, there are a lot of different things in life that relate in the same, like, nature of, like, selling. Like, you're always selling something. Something that I've noticed even now, like, people just don't think they're social media ready.
Right.
Like, everybody actually, like, whenever you get started, they're like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what I'm going to talk about. But, like, that in itself is content. Like, for instance, I just got done shooting I literally just walked away shooting a real estate agent. It's like listing. She was like, I want to go online. I don't know what the heck to talk about, blah, 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 blah. I need to lose weight first. Me and my husband just got a divorce. I'm like, girl, everything you just said is what you need to talk about. I literally asked her, I was like, so, like, are you in any legal allegations that you can't go on? Like, is it all closed out? Can we talk about this online legally? Okay, well, then literally you should.
That's
like,
so
this
smart.
Is all stuff you should talk about.
That's a real nugget right there. Is if you're scared of going on social media, which most people, I think it's a fear-based thing of why they always delay the start. They don't want to be on camera. Oh, what would I look like? What will people say? Make a video about that fear. That is the content.
Yeah, adding to that, I would say we're moving into that too. With short form for a while, especially, it was really easy to be like, here's 3 tips. This is what you need to do if you're starting a business, whatever it is, right? People are getting kind of numb to that now. They're like, don't tell me what to do. So you could literally give the same tips, but a better way to frame it is like, this is what works for me. This is what I'm trying, or this is what I found to work. You're literally giving the same value. You're just framing it in a way. So going back to what you were saying, it's the same thing. It's like, listen, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm going to start today. I'm going to figure it out. You guys are coming with me. It does hit somehow there's other realtors, right, in this case, that are like, man, I'm in that same boat maybe. And when you post this content, even if it's a video that gets 20 views, I get DMs all the time. People will send me their videos and they're like, this is your fault. This is because you said in that one video just to get out there and do it. And that not only keeps you going, but also it's easy. It's easier when you just let go of expectations.
Right. Be authentic. You can never hold a facade long enough, right? The lie will never last longer than your authenticity. So be authentic. Yeah. That's the number one. Like, I love AC/DC. I don't care. I like to wear backwards caps. This is me. But I also run businesses, right? So, sometimes also in sales, when you're too polished, if you look the part and you act the part and you're super polished and you're wearing a $5,000 suit, it makes people nervous.
Yeah.
You got to humanize yourself sometimes, right? Mm-hmm. So I found myself sometimes when I'm like too polished in a presentation and it's like just kind of too good, I'll start to humanize myself, make fun of myself, tell them some of my flaws, because then you become human again, so you can relate to people. So I think video is the same. Just be authentic, be you, because people love you.
Yeah, I would say the same thing. I run into that a lot because we have this business via launch, but I also have like my own personal brand, Social Vibes, where I create YouTube videos and things. And sometimes, you go down a rabbit hole planning content, and you get it all planned out. You're like, all right, I'm gonna shoot this B-roll after. I'm gonna shoot this shot. I'm gonna go to this location and shoot it this way to test out this product. And then I get to where I'm sitting down in front of the camera, and I'm like, what the heck am I doing? Mm-hmm. This isn't even me anymore.
Right.
This is what someone else wants me to be.
Right.
It's not who I actually am. And that's not relatable. Like, I don't want to be this, like, even if I do find success and I get millions of views, I don't want to be this, like, plain dude with no weight to my name, no weight to my content, no issues that I'm facing with. Like, I'd rather get on camera and say, oh, I didn't mean to say that. I meant to say this.
Right.
Because everyone else can relate to that, because that's how you actually have conversations in real life.
And that's something I struggled with, is I love production value. When I shot my earlier videos, I wanted the best cameras and the best mics and audios, but then it looks produced.
Yeah.
It's not authentic. And I feel sorry for cameramen now, because an iPhone gets more attention than the Blackmagic behind me. Sometimes.
Going off of what Joe was just saying too, I think that's one of the reasons. So there's like definitely a difference. I don't know how much you guys scroll on these social media apps, but I do a lot. And like, if you're successful on Instagram, maybe it doesn't translate to TikTok, and vice versa. And one of the reasons, I think, being just to go from Instagram to TikTok, is we are a little bit more planned on Instagram. You do show up in a certain way. TikTok, I would look at it more. So it's more like, and YouTube's like this too. Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, pretty much all of them are like, we are presenting ourselves. People are watching us. They're spectators. On TikTok, it's more of like a group conversation. That's the difference. That's why you'll hear people say things like, you need to be more authentic, or you need to show up on your phone. Really, the difference is that we're having a group conversation with each other. We're all engaging with each other rather than just I'm preaching to you
Right.
or you're spectating my content. So I think that's translating over to the other apps and stuff now. But that's why authenticity is so important, is because you want people to feel like they're a part of your community, not that, you're talking down to them or whatever it is that
Right.
you're doing. That's kind of where the produced content can come in sometimes, because you do present yourself. And the problem with that too, there's a caveat there that you also, depending on what business you're in, it may need to be a little bit more produced because people won't take you seriously.
Right.
If you're a certain level of in the world, or I guess whatever celebrity maybe.
Right.
But yes, it all does come back to even the Kardashians or whatever, who have probably tons of content out there. Sorry to reference them. It's the only person that came to mind.
Can
but
you spell Kardashian?
No.
Okay, I'm just curious.
But they have tons of TV content that they can put on there. But I guarantee you they have stuff of them just pulling through a drive-through that was probably shot on their phone
Yeah.
that people love. And it's like,
Yeah.
there's nothing to it really.
Right.
But it's just because they get to see like a small piece of their real life that's
Yeah.
exciting,
We got to be very careful psychologically, because in the olden days, there's these women's magazines like Cosmopolitan, and all the women are looking at these gorgeous, perfect 12 models, and that's just not real, right? So when you're starting your video career, lack of a better word, and you're looking at the big players that are getting 50,000 views, that's kind of depressing for somebody who's first starting out. Those are like the Cosmopolitan magazines of video. So you have to really understand that their overnight success could have took 30 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it comes back
Yeah.
down to your goals, though, I would say. So as a business owner, let's put it there. If your goal is to bring in leads, it may not necessarily. I just made a video about this the other day because it's true for me. I have videos that bring me leads that aren't necessarily the viral videos or the ones that everybody go, oh, let me save this. This is such a good tip. Sometimes it can be as simple as somebody's been following you and they've been thinking about working with you, and that was just the one video that,
Right.
there's so many touch points before somebody becomes a customer kind of thing. But that may have been the one that pushed them over the edge. They're like, oh, you know what? I've been meaning to hit you up. Let me DM you. But sometimes it is, like recently, I wouldn't say that we're really breaking down too much in our we have a video that's pinned to the top of our TikTok for vid launch. That one brought us a lot of bookings and
Nice.
leads, and it's really simple in a sense. I do think it's because it's a little bit more engaging. We did a little bit more, with the video than just sitting there and doing a talking head. But really, if you really broke it down and listened to it, all we're saying is like, hey, we help clients do this. Hit us up, right?
Right.
And it's kind of interesting what brings you leads. So anyways, I ramble. The point is you kind of have to start with what your goal is. Is my goal to bring in leads, or is my goal to get views?
Right.
And what are we doing with those views? Are we trying to monetize those views
Right.
later? Are we trying to use that for clout? Because in that case, yeah, if you're trying to build clout and use that so you can, then maybe there is something, but you can trick that. You can find a way to get people to watch more or to get higher views by using tricks, basically
Sure.
hacks, right?
Yeah. What would be the number one trick? Well, let's first talk about what is the three main reasons of doing video. I would say number one is social proof. So when you're doing offline activities, they go online and say, okay, somebody else likes him too, right? Then there's monetization. You're doing this to get sponsors because your attention is being sold to other sponsorships, right? What would be a third reason to do video?
Well, I would go back on the second one, and I would say, just money in general, because not even a lot of people go online to make money through sponsors. Like, they go online to make money through, lead magnets and just affiliate marketing and whatever it may be. I think the third one, though, is just to be it's FOMO, right? Like, basically, it's like my friends on TikTok dancing. And whenever, this is actually a really good example. But whenever we have Christmas parties with all my friends, they're over there doing all the videos on TikTok, and imagine me just sitting here watching them. It's like I don't feel like I'm a part of the party. Literally, I'm not a part of the party. So it's like I got to go home. I got to do some research. I got to get more comfortable dancing with myself so I can become a part of the party.
Right.
So it's like that FOMO piece of everybody's there. Why am I not?
Got it.
And that's a big deal to some people. Some people
Right.
really care about what other people think about them.
But vast majority.
Yeah.
What was the first? I remember the second one was monetization. What was the first one?
First one is social proof. So let's say a dentist is doing offline activity and he wants good reviews. Well, if someone Googles Joe the dentist, they want to make sure the videos are also being watched.
Yeah, which is important to touch on too, because I think sometimes we think about views, and I've talked about this a lot. Sometimes just having videos that legit break down what you do and like actually, you know, kind of if somebody's interested in working with you, like we just met at a networking event and I go to your page, regardless whether you have 1 million followers or not, if I can watch some pieces of your content and be like, oh wow, this guy knows his stuff, like yeah, that's totally legit. I don't know if this fits in the same with those other two, but I think my third might even be personal brand,
Sure.
which can be really, because I mean you could still have a business page but then have your personal page, and your personal brand is important, obviously. I mean, you guys may know this, but because you can change careers literally halfway through if you have a strong personal brand, people will
Right.
come with you because it's you. So
Right.
you may not be investing anymore, you may be doing yoga now, whatever, but they're going to be like, I love this dude, right? So
Yeah.
I think that's something, it's a more of a long play, obviously,
Yeah.
and it's a little bit harder to do because if you're niche down to a specific business, you know kind of what the path looks like. With
Right.
personal brand, you got to like wrap your head around like how do you want people to receive, like how do you want to show up online, right?
As long as you're authentic, that's the number one thing. Here's an interesting metaphor, and I don't even know if we're going to put this in the show. 'Cause sometimes I get a little dicey. So this is a great metaphor because one guy told me when you're dating, like years and years and years ago, when you're dating, if you're on a first date, you're supposed to bring the girl or guy or whatever you're into to 4 different places in the location, because the mind can't separate 4 different dates from 4 different environments. So if you met somebody at a bar, you want to take them to a table that's completely different, then take them outside to a bench, and then take them for a walk around the block. The mind thinks that that was 4 separate events. So trust is built at an accelerated pace. And I think that's a good metaphor for videos, is because when someone sees your face on their feeds and sees it, trust is being built because I know that guy, even though I've never met that guy.
Yes.
It's a real subconscious game.
Yeah, Chris talks about this a lot, and it goes deeper than just video. Like you can back up. I know we're specifically talking about video, but you can back up a lot, and it's exactly what you're saying on the first one. It's social proof. So let's just say, for instance, we're talking about you, and I don't know who you are, but I met you at the studio, and then I Google search you. You got a book, and it has no buys. Let's just say everything like you have no, you don't have a lot of engagement, but you have a book on Amazon.
right.
You have a Facebook fan page that got like 100 followers.
Right.
You got an Instagram where you're posting content once a week. You got a TikTok where you're posting content once a week. You got a LinkedIn where you got content consistent. You got a YouTube video where you're just putting up your phone and you're making one of those a week. You're a big deal to me now.
Right.
You're just a big deal because you're doing more than the average human is. It doesn't even matter if it's getting engagement.
Right.
It's just like to me, you're a hard worker and you're doing whatever you have to make people understand that you're trying to go somewhere in life and you're not just sitting on the couch being a bum.
Right.
So that already lets me know that you're an elite human.
Right.
You know?
You're one of
Fire-
the special ones.
Fire emojis is what I want to say here. But like adding to that, so 2 things. The book thing, I don't know if you ever read a book called Key Person of Influence. If y'all haven't, check it out. It's a really good
I
book.
don't have the attention span for
Okay.
a book.
Well, in the book, he mentions, this is going to sound shady on the surface, but like he mentions writing a book, and it could be just as simple as maybe you sit down and transcribe a video and just have somebody on Fiverr like actually make it nice, right? But just publishing a book already has, and think about it, if you met somebody at an event and they had mentioned, you can pull it up on Amazon again, regardless if it only has like 2 or 3 reviews, there's something about that you go, wow, this guy has a book, like dang.
Right.
Like, who is this guy? Let me learn more. But going back to what you're saying about even having content, regardless of how many it is and stuff, there's so many people that struggle with doing it. Not just like, how do I film it? Just literally the idea of being on camera,
right.
that seeing you do that, you're so right that they're going to be like, oh man, like I wish I could do that.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like,
Yeah.
this guy is awesome. Again, so
Yeah.
you're so right. We don't talk about that enough,
Yeah.
that just doing it, just being out there
I'll
is
say this,
huge.
and I'll share this, and I've only shared this one time online, but I'll talk about kind of my journey, and it'll like really go into this. So I created videos since I was 12, but I never was able to get traction, but I knew my content was good. So I did it for about 6 whole more years. Still not getting a lot of engagement. I'm like, dude, like I'm doing what all the big guys are, if not better.
Right.
Why am I not getting views? So instead of figuring out the real reason why I wasn't getting views, and I still, I guess, haven't figured it out yet, what I ended up doing was I was like, I know how to make money. So I went and made a lot of money, and I bought other influencers' accounts.
There you go.
So I went and messaged an influencer. I bought their account. It had like, I bought 2 of them, $15,000 each. No, $1,500 each. And it had like 2,300 followers, but they were all in my niche. And then the other account had like 16,000 followers, all in my niche, for both of my separate businesses. I bought those accounts, and I just kept posting my content consistently. Here's what I noticed. Everyone that I come in contact to, Chris, he can even attest to this. Everyone treats me like I have 1 million followers. Everyone does. Everyone, like the people here at the studio, all my friends and family, they treat me like I am a massive influencer. But realistically, my videos are probably only getting like 300 views per video. But because I have a big following, because I'm very consistent, because my content is good, people just treat me like I'm bigger than I really am.
I never thought of that. Buying other accounts so you can immediately get their attention, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So we talk about buying and selling companies a lot, and that's very similar to taking 10 different spas that are super tiny, buying them all, making one big spa, and then your multiples maybe 6 times net revenue instead of 4. You actually just make 50% more valuation by buying a bunch of small companies and making them a big one. And you've done that with social media. Yep. That's fascinating. So now you instantly get credibility because you have all of this attention because you bought that attention. You're an attention broker.
Yeah.
You're buying attention at wholesale and you're selling attention at retail.
Yeah. And there's a lot of stuff that comes into that. So like, for instance, once you get a certain amount of, for instance, like in that same illustration, whenever you get that many businesses, properties, entities, whatever under your belt, you're immediately qualified for different doors that you couldn't have access to before. So now let's say you walk up to another guy who is really invested in business and real estate, and he owns that many businesses. Now you can actually be buddy-buddy with this guy because you own the same amount of businesses. Right. And you, even if you are you're the same individual.
Right.
You just got more stuff under your belt. In the same way it works for social media.
Sure.
So now, because I have this amount of following, instantly, like literally instantly, I'm able to get access to huge brands because my messages go through.
Man, I didn't even think of that. That's really, really cool.
Yeah.
Like,
You know, and just to add on though, don't short yourself on the views though, because that's something right off the bat when we met that I realized Joe gets a lot of business through his social media because people see it. It's not just about like every video hits. Nobody cares about that. It's because they see him all the time. They're like, dude, it's like every day I pull up my phone. I was scrolling through Facebook one day because he did a brand deal with Glide Gear, I think it was. I'm scrolling through Facebook and a Glide Gear ad comes up and it's Joe. I'm like, I know that dude. Like, that's Joe. So it's like, psychologically, you also see yourself, regardless of whether the content's even. It goes back to the book idea. I don't even need to read your book if I see you have a book on.
Exactly.
Anyways, I don't know if that's ethical or not, but it makes a lot of sense.
It's the psychology of marketing and sales. Because I'm an author, evolution hasn't evolved enough to tell the difference between a fake author and a real author. Like, if we see a big, strong, burly guy, we said we want him for security. Do we know that he can fight? Our genetics through evolution said big burly guys should protect us, right? So evolution hasn't been far enough to tell the difference between a fake author and author. It's still credibility through an expertise. That's why it still works. It'll stop working once everybody figures out, oh, anybody can write a book.
Yeah.
Right?
Or once they hire you and they realize that you don't really know as much about marketing as you pretended to be.
Yeah. So such great point. So I would say to the audience, the number one reason to start doing video is because every time someone sees your face, trust goes up slightly more. Right?
Yes.
And so when you're doing things offline, like we do a lot of direct mail stuff, I'm still licking stamps in 2023, which is shocking to me, but it still works. So when someone gets a letter from one of my businesses and they say, oh, I don't know if this is real or not, and then they Google Jason Couch and they see thousands of 5-star reviews and blah, 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 and then here's my video, and whether it's cheesy or not, they say, oh, He's a real dude. He speaks well. He looks well. He's all right. Let me call him and see what this is all about. People won't even take that first step if they can't get a second verification of your credibility, right?
Yes.
So whatever business you're doing, we need to use VidLaunch because anybody can do 8 seconds. Who can't do 8 seconds?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I want to really kind of dive into why what you're saying is very important, because I definitely agree with you. First, I want to say, like, a lot of people are going to argue, and I'm pretty sure there's people listening to this podcast right now who are going to say it doesn't have to be video. And I would definitely agree with you. The most important thing you're trying to do, like you said, is build trust and build credibility.
Right.
There's a lot of different ways you can do that. You can do that with a billboard.
Right.
You can do that with mail. But here's why we think that the most effective way. So, like, say, for instance, I'm diving into business.
Please.
But let's say, for instance, like, you want a good return on your investment. So you want to get to where, you know, you have a 22% return rate. That's really, really high.
That's aggressive, yeah.
That's really high. But this guy named Alex Mosey, he has a book where he breaks this down.
Yeah,
And he talks
$100
about
million offer.
He talks about how he got to that percentage. And he said basically what he did was he got to where every dollar he spends on ad spend gets him, I want to say like 15 or whatever it
15x.
is. Yeah, 15x, whatever it is. So in the same way, for every dollar that you're going to spend, or let's say every 35 cents you're going to spend on mail, you're going to get you're probably only going to get in today's like a 5 at most, maybe not even that. Yeah. So let's say video, but the reason why that is because there's not a big audience there, right? Like, you send me mail, I go to my P.O. box, I open that mail, I don't have anything against you, but I see your face.
Right.
I'm throwing it away. Like,
Right.
It's not like a bill. Like,
right.
you know, like, I don't care.
But-
I came there to get a bill.
But if you see it consistently, though, and then you all of a sudden are in the market, because I'm the same way. I've probably thrown away mail 12 months out of the year, and there might be that one time where we're thinking about buying a house or something,
Yeah.
and this thing comes up that literally says what I need to hear. Whatever's written on there, I go, and I may not do
Right.
anything, but I will definitely tick it, turn it over, and look at it and go, huh. And I might, if my wife's there and I think this is what we need, I might be like, hey, check this out. When we were just talking about this. So
Right.
it's a long game. And it
Yeah.
does
And I
take
do
consistency,
think it's
but-
a lot of the audience, too. And I don't mean in a weird way, but, like, I'm young, you know. And so probably at my age and under, we're not reading that stuff.
No.
I don't even take it. Like, if it doesn't say bill,
Right.
like, I'm not reading it.
But, you know,
Well,
go
ahead.
I was going to say, just going off of what you're saying, though, is like going back to video, the one thing that I would love to add to why you can get so much return on it, though, is because you can do it yourself. We all have phones
Oh,
now.
yes.
So you don't have to spend money on it. You
Right.
don't have to hire somebody
Yeah.
like me. And so it's essentially free.
Yeah.
People are always looking for an excuses, though, right? They'll hold on to these barriers to entry.
Yeah.
There is no barrier to entry to press the record button. It's
easy.
only you are the barrier to entry.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? So if
Yeah.
you're out at the grocery store and you have a thought, record it, right?
Yep.
Because we have to talk about this. Is it quality or quantity? And where's the balance?
It depends. It's the business, and it depends on your goals.
Let's take our business. Let's do a case study of the Time and Money Network.
Okay, so
Because we're trying to grow viewerships, right? And we just had one that went 65, 70,000 views on TikTok. We were like so excited.
why do you,
One
so
little clip.
I want to come back to that, but I almost want to ask you, why do you think that is? Why do you think that one got 65,000 views?
Well, here's what I hate. I like to talk about real stuff, deep conversations that a lot of people can't handle. So I have to actually create, and for lack of a better word, junk food for business TV to get people's attention. And I don't like to do that. I want to sit somebody down and really say, what's your number one problem? And then help them fix it. But you can't get to that special moment unless you tease them with kind of dopamine hits about business. And if you see a lot of these successful business channels, all they're doing is just regurgitating current events in business and giving their spin on it. Mm-hmm. There's really no help flow there. So when someone has 100,000 views, who actually got benefit from that?
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely want to let you talk about it. I would even argue against you with a lot of that, because I think you'll get to success and your goals a lot quicker if you like literally just be 100% yourself.
Yeah.
So like, for instance, like to me, instead of getting the junk food like you're saying, what I would love is, like, let's say I'm you and I'm on a podcast. I would be
You
like,
know what
all
I
right, dude, look, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't really don't want to small talk. I really don't care. Like, really what I want to help you do is talk about what issues you're facing in your business and how to fix it. So let's just jump right into it. If that video came up to me on social media, you saying it just like what you're actually telling me you think now, dude, I'm watching.
That's
I'm there.
me.
Because that's so real.
That's me. I hate wasted effort, wasted time, like I'm right to the point, and it freaks people out.
Yep.
You started to say something, and maybe you didn't mean it this way, but when you were like, you have a certain way that you want to go about it, are you filtering yourself like on this podcast?
No.
Okay. Because like that's one of the things I come across, especially on sales calls. There's so many times. I literally was talking to a lady the other day. She's a speaker. She does like workshops and stuff like that. And she was talking about how the people she actually ends up helping is men, but that it's hard that as a woman, you know, that she has to kind of like be careful with the way she markets herself, because she's talking about emotional stuff and like men, you know, kind of different. The way she was saying it, I'm butchering it right now, trust me. But the way she came across, and I was like, why don't you talk about that though?
Yeah.
Because like everything you're saying is resonating with me. That like she has to deal with. She's been in the military for so long, and that's why she thinks people give her the time of day. Is because they're like, oh, okay, you were in the military. I can take advice from you, basically.
Sure.
And she's like, I feel like that sucks a little bit, because, you know, it shouldn't just be because I was in the military, but it helps me. Anyways, so often going back to there's so many times that we're on the phone with someone and they will say like, well, I would really talk about this, but I don't think that fits in the box that I think I should be on social media. And sometimes it's usually the thing that is literally what we would actually be excited to hear about, or that we would resonate with. Right. And so I kind of wonder, going back to the junk food, well, it all kind of goes, and this is like such a buzzword right now with value. It's value in a term, in the form of entertainment, inspiration, or education. That's what your content needs to be. No matter what, it's long form, short form, whatever it is, nobody's going to watch it if they don't feel like they're getting some sort of value out of it, right? So how do you deliver the value in a way that's going to get people's attention? Well, I think the junk food for you, I'm going to keep using that term, is your way to kind of like wedge yourself into the conversation. Because when you are building, you got to find it doesn't have to be junk food, I don't think, in my professional opinion. But what is your wedge? What is your wedge to get in there? Whether that be, going back to short form being short attention spans. I think that's why there's some people that have quick edits and emojis and captions and all these things they do. All these things are junk food in a sense. They're hacks to get you wedged in there, because once they actually give you the time of day and hear what you're saying, now we're going to be along for the ride, whether you're just sitting in your car talking unedited long form. You just have to find so that's why consistency can work too. Just showing up.
But see, doing that isn't authentic, because they don't talk about that in real life. They're doing that to get the clicks. And then immediately I say, nobody puts 15 emojis behind a statement. They're doing that to get the attention, which makes them less authentic.
Yeah.
So where's the balance? Like,
yeah, here's the thing. Short form is a gateway drug to long form.
Yes. I like that.
Right?
Why do I always say that? I like that. I like that.
So if you think about it, anything, like whenever you scroll through these 8-second videos, 60-second videos, you as a person making it, and if you're not doing this, then you're not good at business, to be honest with you. You're making that content so that you can channel people to longer form video, which is where you actually can have a full conversation and get all the stuff that's in between. Now, there are some people, and I know Chris doesn't do this a lot, like he mainly focuses on short form, but that's just because Chris doesn't really necessarily care about making an income off of that. But like, if you're trying to build a business around this, then like you have to think about it as a gateway thing. So I'm gonna try to get your attention. I'm gonna try to give you what I consider valuable in a way that's ethical to me. Like, I'm not about to try to trick you and lie to you. Like, I got $1 million offer, I got $1 million deal closed, and literally it was potentially $1 million deal, and I closed it for $100,000. I'm not gonna do any of that.
Isn't
crap.
that called stunting? Isn't that?
Yeah, but I'm not into that. But that's just not because that's not who I am and my type of content. So to go back to your question, quality over quantity really comes down to what the person who is creating can manage, right?
Yeah.
So, because here's the future of content, short form content, in my opinion. The future of short form content, and Chris may argue with me, is it's not this. Like, it's not you talking to your phone. It really isn't, because what you want to do is be able to have a conversation as naturally, as organic as you can, like you're in a grocery store in a checkout line and you saw your friend, but you still want people to see you clearly.
Right.
You want people to hear you clearly. And so what's going to happen is people are going to get really, really comfortable. Like the whole community of the world is going to get really, really comfortable in front of 12K cameras. Like the Jenner family, which is what I really do appreciate about these huge people, are like Jake Paul,
Sure.
all these huge celebrities. The reason why they're so successful is because they've gotten so comfortable in front of high production sets where this is their everyday life, but they can still be themselves.
Right.
Like, I don't care. I know these cameras are really zoomed. Like, you can see everything. If I got a pore on my face, you can see it. I don't care.
I don't care either.
And really, in my head, because I've been doing it for so long, it's a person right there. That's a person right there. That's
Right.
a person right there. Because I'm talking to people through the camera.
Right.
And once everybody gets there, then I think what's really going to happen is it's going to be quantity, but everything's just going to naturally be quality.
You know what? And you touched on something there that I think is so important. Again, it goes back to goals. Because if you're already creating and you're like getting some traction and you're trying to figure it out, like maybe this changes. But if you're just getting started, consistency is over quality or quantity.
Got it.
At this point.
Right.
Because he's right. If you could do quality, but it takes you so long that you're not going to be able to keep up with it, then that's probably not the best idea all the time, which is why people do it on their phone a lot, because
Sure.
they can do it on the go. And that does have some authenticity to it too, because you're able to like, oh,
Right.
he's just out of the grocery store while he's
Right.
making content. But yes, he's right. And I think something else with short form, I don't know if the industry has adopted it this way, but technically short form is a shorter video and long form is a longer video. I don't look at it that way. I look at it like what you said. It's your basically your topic starter, your appetizer to get them to what you really want them to do,
Right.
which is your YouTube, which is your Facebook group,
Right.
which is your email or like your lead magnet, whatever
Right.
it is. So if you can set it up, but that depends on your goals, because if you're building a personal brand, there may not be any of that. You may just need to show up for a long time so people
Right.
get to buy into you as a human.
Right.
So it kind of comes back down to, if you're building a personal brand, you may not need quality as much, because you want people to buy into you.
Right.
But if you are a business and you can sprinkle in, I do think, even if you're using your phone, like you said, putting it on a tripod, using a ring light, putting a little bit more effort into editing it and like getting to the point will go a long way. And that's what I've learned.
Right. You don't need all this.
Yeah.
No.
You don't need an Infinity Studio and 5 lights and Blackmagic cameras and all this stuff. You don't need it.
Yeah.
I just like it.
Exactly.
I like to feel like I'm in the clouds.
Yeah, yeah. And here's the thing. Imagine this. Like, let's say your aunt. I think this is a really good example, too. Your aunt, she's posting videos on Facebook all the time, right? Like, she's at the kid's birthday party. She got her phone out. She's like, hey, Timmy, tell everyone on Facebook hello
wanna
that you're
see this
excited that, for your birthday party. Let's say she did that with a small Sony camera. Dude, I'm watching that video.
Yeah.
My aunt has a camera and she's like recording, like, I'm in the same exact way.
Right.
I'm going to be watching that video more because I can, for one, see the video more clearly.
Right.
I can maybe hear more clearly. It's better lit. It's just everything, and it's organic, right? So everything, all the different pieces are there for me to consume more.
Right. I guess the principle is don't let production value stop quantity.
No.
That's the formula, right?
Well, it's consistency.
Right.
Yeah, because even quantity, I would say it could be troublesome if you're going to burn out. If you're going
Yeah.
to say
Right.
3 posts a day, but then 3 weeks into it, you're like, I'm done. I don't want to see another video for 2 weeks, then that's not going to be good for you either.
Got it. So consistency. So we'll get about 20 different clips from this podcast, and we'll make short forms, and you're going to help me do that, right?
Yeah.
What's the magic number for how many seconds it becomes too long?
Whatever
not
it
one.
is, yeah, to deliver the value.
Is there
there's
any
not one.
caps on the different platforms?
The caps come like from a professional standpoint because we're limited by the platform. So if we're trying to do a strategy with someone where we want to be able to post and have that repurposed over to other, obviously if we go like TikTok allows us to do 3 minutes, sometimes 10 minutes, but we can't do over a minute and a half, I think, on Instagram. We can't do over a minute on YouTube. So sometimes it might just be easier if we can get everything under a minute, then we know we can post it everywhere.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the game. But obviously, like I said, and we talk about this sometimes when we're editing our own client stuff, if the video at a minute 30 is real good and I'm like, man, it feels like it would be, then you have to kind of come to the decision, like, is it better to send them a 1.5 and a 1 minute version of that might be truncated a little bit? Or do we just tell them, like, don't worry about posting this on the, I mean, it really just kind of comes down to the business.
We like to define things here. What does truncated mean?
I'm not going to give the proper definition, but it's like to
Segmented,
like condense it down.
condense it, shorten it.
Yeah.
Take
'cause
out the.
I think that might come from, I did web development for a while, and I think that might come from.
It's a great word.
Yeah.
Truncated.
I've asked Siri, define truncated. I wanted to show. So we can't pull it up to where we show the guys, but you know we're talking about like the digital cam. I literally found something I probably should have found sooner, but I think influencers do this a lot. And I mean, shooting in the TikTok app versus doing a selfie camera versus what they did is they would turn it around and they would actually turn the flash on, which to like, I'm a little bit older. To me, that sounds like, why would you do that? The difference in the way the quality looked blew my mind. I posted a video on it. I can pull it up and show you guys, but literally just changing to the rear camera and turning the flash on already made the video look so much cleaner, so much. I got to show you that. Remind me to
That's
show
cool.
you.
Yeah.
That's smart. I mean, lighting's important. So look, what I'm trying to do with the Time and Money Network
Yep.
is, you ever seen the movie Yes Man with Jim Carrey?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. I love no men in my life. I don't like yes men, right? So when you're a business owner and everybody's leveraged you for their survival, they're not going to tell you the truth, right? People need business therapy. So they need to say, okay, you've been down this path. How would you view this problem? So what I'm trying to do is give people medicine from my experience, and people don't like to take medicine. And what you're saying is, I need to take that little pill I'm trying to give them and put it in a Cheeto so they actually eat it.
Yeah, you know, from my own experience on social, what I kind of figured out that leaving in the little mistakes were good for me. I'm not saying this works for everyone, but meaning I'd be shooting a video and I'd be like, ugh, trip on my word, and like I would edit that out later. But having that moment with myself of being like, anyways, you know what I'm trying to say. Like I could even, if you wanted to go further with it, like put a little, because you can put little GIFs and like little emojis on your videos. I could put, I know, but for me, I don't do it because I'm like, ooh, this is gonna get like a lot of views. I do it because I'm like, this would be funny to me. I think I would laugh if I saw a video where a guy had like a brain fart and a little loading symbol comes up on his head. So I edit my videos based on what I think is funny or what I think is good.
Right.
And then that seems to work for me. So going back to the junk food and what you were saying earlier is it's like figuring out what is it that is, you know, digestible for you to do.
Sure.
Like that isn't too soul sucking, but that can basically, like you said, wrap it in a Cheeto. So
Right.
that's your Cheeto wrapper to where you can get them to pay attention. Or you may just have to just sit back and just like
I have
do
no
it.
patience. No patience.
I think the real thing is authenticity. And so I know you said like in the business world, like you're striving for truth with this podcast. Excuse me. But in reality, and maybe this is just me, I'm so tired of people being fake, man. Like me personally, and I think really everyone is. Like we're kind of done with that.
Right.
We're kind
Yeah.
of tired of people being fake. So all we want is real.
Right.
And the realest you can be is yourself.
Right.
And so all the stuff that you think, like you personally think, oh, this isn't engaging, or everything that you think you don't want to do, then why are you doing it?
Yes. Right.
Because you got to think about it like this. Unless you're, and this is why it's really good to have an outside source. And for me, it's my wife. I think for most men like us, it's our wife. But you want to be able to say, are there more people exactly like me in the world? Probably yes. Like there are thousands of more people exactly like me. So there's many people literally out there like you who don't want to see the freaking emojis.
Right.
Who don't want to sugarcoat stuff. Who don't want, like they literally just want a clip of you talking about some helpful advice.
Right.
So then why are you trying to go extra and get people who aren't even your audience?
Well, it's like like, why do people go to a doctor, right? Nobody wants to go to the doctor, do they? No. Well, what is the main reason they'll go to the doctor?
To stay healthy.
To stay healthy, right? So there's preventative, and then they have a pain. They're trying to fix their pain or prevent pain, right? But people will delay and delay and delay going to the doctor because what? Are they scared to hear something bad, right? So getting advice from somebody like the Time and Money Network, they might hear that they've been doing something in an inefficient way. So they have to have enough pain to say, oh, there's so much pain here, I need to go get a new prescription of change. Well, the problem is there's very few people that are going to do that on their own. We have to lead them through any kind of funnel basis. We have to be super, not really junk foody, but just super simple, and then lead to more advanced concepts, right?
Yeah.
So if that's kind of our funnel, how can we not, we can't avoid the junk food. It has to be there.
I don't think that's true, but I think you're coming down to like what is more important to you, because like you said, you're impatient. So
Very.
that's kind of what the trade-off is if you're willing to be patient about it, then you don't have to do the junk food.
Well, I can be super patient if I know the why of each step. But the problem with videos is everybody just says, just keep putting it out there, and if you build it, they will come. I hate the Field of Dreams business model. I can't do it.
But there are tactics. There are people that I can send you all their pages where they literally can start a new page and grow it rapidly overnight. They are following a lot of the stuff that most people like you and I would be like, I just don't want to do that though. I want to show up with myself. But one of the things you said that I think is important is sprinkling in as much of, when you were like, I hate the emojis. We need as much of that as possible, because that's what people connect to. The advice is good. The prescription is good, but part of what makes us really want to buy in and actually follow you and like want to be a part of your community is because we align with you. We have similar likes, similar goals.
Even Elon Musk puts damn emojis in his tweets.
So can I say,
But that's him. Because you know why?
Yeah.
Because he's a very mean. He like everything about him is a meme. His
Yeah,
life is a
he
meme,
is,
Right.
yeah.
right? And so it makes sense for him in the same way, like basically what Chris is saying. So like if you're saying like, what should you do for your podcast? Like the clips online should be, man, honestly, maybe 20% business advice.
Okay, what should the other?
Everything else
Laughing,
should
yeah.
be top of the funnel.
Got
it should
it.
be like us joking behind
Yeah,
the scenes,
I
talking
agree.
about, I'm about to put a bottle of whiskey up here.
I agree.
And then like at the end, like that's the beginning of it. That's the hook. And then the end, you maybe say like there's a clip on that same video. You cut to now something a little bit more serious that teases it.
Got it.
So it's like, yeah, man, I think that's one of the biggest reasons why people aren't growing
That's a
their
great
business.
nugget.
And that's exactly how you do every single video. Because as I'm scrolling through my phone, I'm going to be like, oh my gosh, that's so funny. And honestly, I may even want a glass of whiskey right now, but it's 3 o'clock, whatever.
Right.
And then you say something about business. I'm like, oh.
Right. That makes sense because I think Gary Vaynerchuk, is that his name? Gary
Gary
Vee?
V. Yeah.
He says you're supposed to jab, hook.
Yeah.
And all we're doing is hooking here.
yeah. So I
Wait a
want
minute.
to say,
That didn't sound right.
oh, hey, if it pays the bills. So with getting into a little bit of like our, what?
That's funny.
Whenever you're about to spit on me, I feel like
I hope
we're-
we can keep that in.
the breaking down content from like a strategy standpoint, though, when we think about it, doing it for clients, we do think about it in terms of a funnel. And there is top of the funnel content, and a lot of times this is the videos that, I mean, there's many different things you could throw in here. Trends, people doing dances, doing whatever it is, sounds, things like that.
Dances,
I know you don't have to do that. I hate to lead with that, but it's
try, man.
you know what is so funny about that? I've never danced and never will, but I bet if I did a video like that, it would probably go viral because it
course.
would look bad.
Of course.
But top of the funnel can just be like he's saying, a joke, something that makes you
Yeah.
laugh. But then there is, so it's no like trust. I can shorten this conversation just by saying you have to be putting out each one of those types of content. What is the content that makes me become aware of you? Top of the funnel, stuff that I can just kind of like, maybe it doesn't really say anything about what you do, but I can laugh along with you.
Got it.
60%, by the way.
Got it.
Yeah. Second level being like like we're going to talk a little bit about who we are, what we believe in, not just like regardless of what other people may think about it. Like that's when I start to really connect with you. And I'm like, oh, okay. I've seen these guys before. They popped up on my feed. I agree with him. Emojis are crap. I'm tired of them too. Right.
That's about 30%.
Yeah.
And then the trust is the stuff that you've been, and honestly, I think you were talking about how we've been doing the hooks. I think most people think about the very bottom, which is the promotional, the ad content where you literally are like selling, hey, we do this. Hit me
Come
up,
watch my
buy this
podcast.
from-"
Yeah.
Yeah. And
yeah.
it's
And
like,
that's like 20%. So that's like 60 on the top, which literally means most of your content should be the little moments that make you as a human just laugh.
right.
Has no connection to business.
Understood.
Yeah. And then it's the 30% is like where you get a little bit more specific in what you offer as value proposition to someone
Right.
else. Then that 20% is where you're actually selling.
Right.
And here's why. Have you ever seen these, like, there's this this guy who's on TikTok. He's really, really viral, but he goes around and he like sells people like stuff that removes like dirt off of your
oh yes,
Gooby gone kind of thing.
that type
Yeah,
of
but have
stuff.
you
But he
seen that
starts
guy?
off and he knocks on the door. He's like, "Hey, I'm gonna make this. I'm gonna make your window as clear as Joe Biden. It's gonna be. You're gonna be. You just say something crazy. Like I don't know. You just say something that makes you like immediately laugh. Like oh my gosh, what did you just say?
As clear as Joe Biden?
Yeah, like white.
Like mentally clear?
No, white. Like as white as like
Yeah.
I'm gonna make
A
this
better
wall
joke.
as white as Biden. Let me show
Got
you
it.
how it works. Blah blah
Got
blah. And you just laugh. And then he honestly does that for most of like the whole minute. And then he says, "Now watch this. Let me show you how it works." But he does it in a still funny way. He sprays it. He wipes it off. He's like, "Look, there's Biden." And then he's like, "And here's how much it costs. You're gonna buy the product now. You went through the process."
Because that's
He's-
trust and rapport.
Yeah,
It's being built through comedy.
He's not doing it just. Look him up. Look up the funny. I think it's the funny salesman is his handle.
The funny sales.
Dude,
Yeah.
he is hilarious.
Yeah.
Comedy.
But going back to even from an ad strategy, when we think about it like this, if you're doing paid, like if you get people, you're going to save yourself so much money on that bottom funnel content where you're actually saying like, here's our special this month. This is what we're doing. Buy from us. Because what you can do is people that engage with that top funnel, which is a broader audience, we can
Right.
all laugh at you, whether I'm into business stuff or not. If you do something that's funny, like you
Right.
said, whiskey, I can laugh with you. We can retarget those people that saw that.
Right.
Right. And then we can show them the stuff that starts to be a little bit more niche specific and being like, hey, we want business owners in this area that have engaged with a few pieces of our content or watched 75% of our video. And then when we finally show them, that final ad never has to see the light of day to someone that is literally not in your audience.
You don't even have to run ads though, because that's what
true, yes.
That's what the word algorithm is for.
Right.
Literally, the algorithm is the ad for you. Because let's say, for instance, I watch a Time and Money podcast clip and I watch it for over 10 seconds. Literally, the algorithm is gonna say,
true.
"Oh, because Chris watched it, I'm about to put more stuff on the feed."
Right.
Here's something else that didn't get a lot of engagement. We don't even know what all they talk about, maybe.
Right.
But I'm just gonna show it to him. You watch that. Now I'm gonna hammer you for every post I put out like that, every batch, I'm gonna put out one ad. Not ad, but you get
Right.
one piece of content that's like, come watch our podcast. We really would appreciate it.
Right.
Now you see that video and you're like, dude, yeah. It doesn't cost me anything.
Right.
I'm going to come watch their podcast in an organic sense.
Right.
That's why people are making so much more money now.
Okay.
Because they're not having, it's full circle to what I was talking about earlier. One it's a few, actually it's $0 to like a 15% conversion rate. You didn't even have to
like it.
spend any money.
And
get
here's the
it.
best part.
What's the bet? But wait, there's more.
When you have these different categories, that's way more content for you.
That's true.
You're not just focused on, I'm going to sell my podcast or give business advice. I can add in a category here of stuff that's kind of funny, behind the scenes
Okay.
stuff. Here's stuff that I believe in. Here's stuff that I want to talk about that maybe has nothing to do with the podcast. And now you have so many ideas and topics you can cover so
Got
that you
it.
can show up, 3, 4, whatever times a day if you want to do that.
So I just maybe had a cognition. This game is just like dating. You're not going to talk about serious stuff on the first date, which I did, right?
Yeah.
That worked, but maybe that's a bad habit that worked, right? You want to keep it light, keep it less light, and then give them the prescription.
Yeah.
right? That's
yeah.
a funnel.
No, that's good. You're not
100%.
gonna show up to a date like, hey, so I just want to make sure before we get into this, can you have kids? Like, are you fertile?
I want
you're
3
not,
kids.
You're not gonna jump
Right.
into that stuff.
Right.
You want to work into that because you may
Right.
not even never get there.
Right.
Like you may not never get there.
That
So-
makes sense. Okay.
So true. It's called social media for a reason. And sometimes
It's
if we're
social.
we're preaching in one of our first videos that you see, that is what's going to happen. People are going to go, I don't know you. Why am I taking advice from you?
There you go.
We got to do something to start the conversation. Like, hey, I like your shoes.
So
like,
you
those are
got the
rad.
pickup line, which is the short form video, is a pickup line.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
what it is.
Yeah.
It's a public pickup line.
It's like, what up, girl? How you doing? And
Yeah.
She's like, oh my gosh, I feel happy. I don't know why, but I like how you said that.
yeah.
Let me go. Give me some more.
What's a good pickup line? I haven't used one in forever.
Yeah, me either.
I used to do this thing at youth camp. My wife's gonna hate me. I would I got a few hundred numbers from this. I would walk around with sugar packets in my pocket, and I'll walk by a girl during lunchtime and drop it on the floor and pick it up and say, "Did you drop your name tag?"
Oh,
And then
boy.
that worked.
oh yeah, and
That worked?
And then
Oh.
she was like, "Oh my gosh, you're so funny!" And I would flip it over to the blank side and give her a pen. She'd write her number
Yeah.
on it.
or that's funny. Or are you okay? Did you hurt yourself when you fell from heaven? Oh my god.
I never use pickup lines. I'm a freaking nerd.
I know. I don't know what I would do if I had to go date
Yeah,
again.
what if we had to date again? That would be a good case study.
I'd probably go straight to Tinder or something. I don't know.
Oh man.
That's the only way you can.
Yeah, I wouldn't have found my wife. I did go out, but like I didn't go to pick her up. We just were talking at a party, and it was like, hey, you're not a dumbass. I like you. Like, this is cool.
That's
like,
a cool pickup line.
Yeah.
It's hard to date now. No one wants to date. I don't
It's
know.
been a long
I don't
time.
know what I would do.
What do
so don't
people
ask
do
me.
now? What are the cool kids doing besides swiping right?
Literally, that's what they do. I know so many people who've gotten married seriously from Tinder hookups. Like I know probably 10 people.
That's amazing.
Like
I
10
don't
people,
know.
not including 2 people. Like one person that's happened 10 times from Tinder, from whatever.
Man, hope they get a prenup.
Yeah, I don't know.
Damn.
I tell you this, they test often. Like they go.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
that's good. Hey, that's really what a lot of people are after. You got to test the product, right? You got a 30-day
Yeah.
money back guarantee.
I don't think they get their money back though.
No. they get something else that's permanent. What?
Just trying to inform us about STDs.
I guess so. All right, looks like it's time to wrap this up. So, the summation of this podcast is funnel is what you need. And the beginning of the funnel is the short video, which introduces, it's the pickup line, and then start introducing longer videos to lead them to something educational, the prescription that will actually help them, right? So if a doctor wants you to come in, he's going to do, marketing like anybody else. If a doctor did a funny pickup line and say, hey, I'm safe and blah, 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 you might go to the doctor more often, right? Mm-hmm. So that's how you create this funnel approach. And then just start. Do not be scared of the camera. It's just plastic. The people out there watching are just people with their own problems. They're not supermodels that are judging you. People love authenticity, correct? Mm-hmm. Now, how do people get a hold of you at VidLaunch to help their business?
It is pretty much VidLaunch everywhere. Our handle
Everywhere.
is VidLaunch. I think except
We're on LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, and
All of them.
Pinterest.
All of them.
Literally everywhere you could be. We're
If they
there.
Google VidLaunch, your stuff comes up,
Yep,
right? Okay.
yep.
vidlaunch.io if you want to go the website route, that works too. But
Okay.
yeah, I love even rather than handing out a business card, I would rather like have while we're standing next to each other, let's pull out our phones. I want to follow you.
Right.
And like vice versa. And the real reason why I do that is because you like a business card you can toss away, but if I get you
That's
to follow
right.
me, then you have to see my face every day.
I like it. And you guys, you have products for every level, right? I mean, your expertise sounds expensive, but you have gateway products that get people started right now.
Yeah,
correct?
the main focus of VidLaunch is, in reality, not everybody has time to execute what we're talking about. Right. And so mainly, a lot of our clientele are CEOs because these guys have multiple entities. They're starting new ventures. They simply just don't have time to pull out the camera, but they want to.
Right.
So literally we do it all for them. We plan the content. We shoot the content. We edit the content. We post the content. And all you do is have your assistant collect all the leads and answer the phone calls. Literally, that's it.
Right.
Like, that's all you do, and that's where our business is. Now, there are, like you said, tiered step down where we help people just get started on a monthly basis,
Right.
on a 3-month basis instead of a 12-month basis, on a 6-month. So there's different options to help people get to their goals because we're not here to make a ton of money, even though we want to.
Oh, come on. But see,
that's a lie.
again, and let me comment on that. Money is not a bad thing if it's used in the correct way, right?
Yeah.
So if you gather a bunch of money and then go give it to charity and buy veterans' houses, that's like Robin Hood stuff, right?
Yeah.
So if you're really good at what you do, and for the audience, it's totally off subject, ask for the money because I think if you're a good person, the money's way better in your hands than somebody wasting
Well,
it.
And to be clear, to specify, I mean we're not here to make money over actually helping
Right.
people.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's
Helping
helping
people-
people first.
Yes.
And we understand that not everybody can afford $35,000
Right.
12-month package.
Well,
Right.
even
You know?
I would say a full-time employee. That's kind of the goal here. Is if you were to hire someone in-house, which eventually probably should be your goal,
Right.
because you can get a lot more out of somebody that's a full-time
Right.
employee. But still, we're talking about
That's
what,
going to cost you
75,
over
80K a year
60
with
to
benefits.
80.
Right.
Yeah, so just come spend 35 with us and you're going to get a more effective
And
That's
get your
right.
whole year done.
Yeah.
The whole year. That's 35 grand. You can't even get a secretary. Is that a word anymore? Secretary? You can't even get a secretary for 35 grand.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
But it's not always 35 grand. Start with a consultation with VidLaunch. Figure out what your most pressing issue is, which is probably you can't get in front of camera, right?
Yeah.
That's usually the most
Usually.
often, right? They're going to help you get over that barrier and start, and you'll be amazed at what that will do for building trust and rapport with your clients. Do you have anything else to add?
no, thanks for
Just
having us.
get started.
Just do it.
Press record.
I can't say that. Just do it. Anyway, that's Nike's trademark, not mine. Just do it. And it's also applicable to these guys. Go to vidlaunch.io
Yes, sir.
or Google VidLaunch. Get with these guys and get your video questions answered. I'm Jason Couch with the Time and Money Network. Thank you so much, guys. It was a really good one.
Thank you.
All
for having
right.
us.
Yeah.
And we'll see you
Enjoyed
guys on the next podcast.